The biggest differences between working out in your 20s versus working out in your 30s. Now, I'm 32, but I will be coming up to 33 in October. And I know I'm not old by any means. However, the body does change. I noticed a big change when I was 27. That's when I got my hormone levels checked because I just generally didn't feel right and I felt like I was aging faster. So I needed to make the changes then. And in today's video, I'm going to go over exactly what I did and stuff that you can do, just like me, to make sure you age well, you stay healthy, and you stay injury free. Now, to be honest, guys, a lot of this stuff is common sense. It's common sense, practical stuff. It's just a case of putting that common sense into a routine. And once you've got it in that routine, it'll stay with you. It's just a case of learning the info, getting it in a practical routine, and you'll be good to go. Now, first, let's talk about the training itself. Back when I was in my 20s, I used to work out 6 times a week, and I used to do 40 sets of workout. Looking back now, it was madness. How I got injured, I never got injured, I'll never know. It was way too much training and way too much volume. Whereas fast forward to now, or certainly the last 5 years, I work out 4 or 5 times a week. So that's 4 or 5 weight training sessions per week. And I do, on average, 20 sets of workout. So I'm now getting those 2 or 3 rest days during the week for my body to recover, and I've halved the volume. So as you can see, it's a massive difference from my 20s. The volume's been halved, and I'm getting those 2 to 3 rest days during the week, which are massively important for my body to recover so I don't get injured. And when it comes to rep ranges, my advice would be is to do higher reps. So if you can, aim to 15 to 20 reps per set. I'm not saying you can't go heavy, you know, I'd be contradicting myself if I said that. Sometimes I do 6 to 8, 8 to 10. However, the vast majority of my training now is more 15 to 20 reps. Less weight, less chance of injury. When you're going heavier, more chance of injury. I know it's common sense, but it is worth reiterating. Next is diet and vitamin supplements. Now, when it comes to your diet, my advice would be is to make sure you're getting your protein in throughout the day. Eggs is the best food in my opinion. Real meat, milk for your calcium and your joints and bones. You want to make sure you're getting proper protein in throughout the day. And when it comes to the amount of protein you should get, you want to aim for per pound of body weight, if that makes sense. So for example, I weigh 200 pounds, so I want to try and make sure I get 200 grams of protein in throughout the day, as an example. So you don't need to go overboard, you don't need to do twice per pound of body weight or anything like that, because it is bad for your kidneys if you have too much of it. However, you do want to make sure you're getting your protein goals in throughout the day, because without your protein, your muscles aren't recovering. Without, your joints, your bones aren't recovering. You're not going to be able to grow muscle, build muscle, and be ready for the next workout. So you're increasing your chance of injury if you're not eating properly. Without the protein, your body's not recovering. So that's the main thing you want to do. And I did mention joints and calcium and stuff like that. That's where milk does come in handy. However, getting into more stuff like that, when it comes to supplements and vitamins, the vitamins that I would recommend is number 1, vitamin D. That is for your joints and bones. Now, vitamin D is something that it is relatively cheap, and it's something I would recommend for you to get. I'm not a lover of advocating supplements, but vitamin D is something I think everybody should have. I mean, it is for your joints and bones. That's why I use it, but I think it's just for general overall health as well. Other vitamins that, in my opinion, do boost your hormone levels. Not a lot, but noticeably so, in my opinion, that are worth buying are zinc and magnesium. Those 2 in particular, I think, do help boost your hormone levels. And if you want to throw in ashwagandha, which is a cortisol stress reducer, you can do. Obviously, a multivitamin, just a general multivitamin, will help as well. You could throw that in as well. Next, we've got is sleep. Now, when it comes to your sleep, you want to make sure you're aiming for 7 to 8 hours of sleep per night, if not more if you can. Most people don't really get a lot of sleep. They get 5 or 6 hours. However, when it comes to building muscle, recovery, and just generally feeling better, to be honest, having a proper good night's sleep makes a world of difference, particularly as you get older. When you're in your 20s, you can go out, you can stay out till late, come in the next morning and feel fit as a daisy. However, when you get older, that just isn't the case. So you want to make make sure you're getting your 7 to 8 hours of sleep per night. And my advice would be at night to have better sleep, get blackout curtains, particularly in the summer. They make a big difference. You want to make sure your room is as dark and as cold as possible at night. It does help the quality of sleep. So yeah, that is massively important. Without your proper sleep, you are not going to be able to recover. I hope that video has been helpful. And just some other small mentions I'd say, when it comes to training your legs, my advice would be once every 10 days is about right. Only because training your legs can put strain on your lower back, and it's your biggest body part, remember, so it takes a lot to recover. There's a lot more recovery involved with your legs compared to, your upper body. So once every 10 days for your legs. And if there are exercises that don't agree with you, don't persist with it, just swap it for something else. Or lower the weight and concentrate on your form. Don't carry on doing an exercise that doesn't agree with your body, if that makes sense. So there are just some other notable suggestions I thought I'd throw in at the end. I hope that video's been helpful, and I will see you in the next video.